Welcome to another episode of Morning Coffee Guest. I'm your host, Simone Absalom Gale. From little seeds, grow healthy veggies. Let's talk about farming this morning, but not the usual way of farming, through an aquaponics system. Are you curious? I know I am. Stay with us. We'll learn more from our InMed Caribbean guests right after this break. We'll be right back. Aquaponics is a cooperation between plant and fish, and the term originates from two terms: aquaculture, the growing of fish in a closed environment, and hydroponics, which is the growing of plants, usually in a soil-less environment. Welcome back to Morning Coffee Guest. I'm your host, Simone Absalom Gale, and here with me is Kristen Callahan, and she's the Chief Operating Officer of InMed Caribbean, and we have the Program Manager, Sharika Campbell. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, first question goes to Kristen. Tell us a little bit more about InMed.
Certainly. InMed Partnerships for Children is an international nonprofit development organization. We've been working in Jamaica since 2002. We first introduced aquaponics as part of our program in 2010, primarily for the purpose to try to combat the issues of food insecurity, economic disparities, climate change impacts. And all of these things have really only gotten worse since the pandemic. So we first introduced it working with small farmers, working in institutions, learning institutions.
All right, so how does it work? You want to explain it to us, Sharika? How does aquaponics work?
How does the system work?
Yes.
Okay, so as you had described before, it's integration of two terms, the term of aquaculture and hydroponics. So it's a system that utilizes the nutrients from the fish to grow your crops.
So you're growing fish, and then you're using
the
waste, excrement or waste from the fish
to grow your crops.
That's cool. So it's kind of like recycling, but in a natural form.
Yes.
Wow. So what are the three main components of the system?
Okay, so the three main components of the system are your fish that you have to feed daily and take care of, just as how you take care of your pets. Mm-hmm. The grow beds, which does not have any soil, so it's a soilless system. Mm-hmm. And we in Med we use gravel as our base, and your plants.
All right, it sounds pretty simple to me. So what are the benefits, though, of having this system when you compare it to having just a regular farm that you have to till and stuff?
Okay, so this system usually utilizes 90% less water than traditional farming, and we usually expect to get 10% more yield from this kind of system. It's not a labor-intensive system, so it's usually accessible for the disabled, for women, or if you're a busy young person and you want to incorporate farming in as part of your side job or an alternative source of income, it's something easy for you to incorporate in your life.
Sounds interesting. So it's something that you can have in your backyard, or is this a system that is like you have to set it up on a farm?
Well, it's both. So you can choose to have something in your backyard. It can be as simple as something that you set up in your backyard, and it can be as complex on a farm. It depends on the scale at which you want to go with this technology.
That's true. Okay, so I have a friend, right? She does farming, and she had to invest like $2 million to get started. How cost effective is it to implement this system, though?
Well,
you want to jump in there, Kristen?
So it does depend on the size.
Yes.
We actually developed a design that ranges from a very small backyard system that can be placed on a rooftop backyard, even inside a classroom, ranging from a small system to a medium size to a commercial large system. And so there is an initial investment, but it's not, your return is very fast. And so with the production of both fish and plants, you have that ongoing production year-round. And the benefit really, as Sharika mentioned, with saving of the resources, it uses a lot less water, also very little energy to operate. There's one pump, and that is what transfers the water from the fish to the plants. And then gravity actually returns the water. And so it's a very natural cycle that circulates, and so it doesn't require a huge investment.
So, so what I'm hearing is that the initial investment is based on what you can afford.
At the scale at which you want to
Exactly.
produce.
So it's interesting.
Yes.
In the beginning, you mentioned climate change. What's the relation between it and climate change? How is that going to help?
So there are a lot of situations where there is not enough soil, there is not an adequate location to grow food. And we're finding this more and more with extreme droughts, with fires, with intense hurricanes, and it makes traditional farming a lot more difficult. And so aquaponics is a form of controlled environment agriculture, and so it's intensive, and it will help farmers to adapt to climate change by being able to produce food year-round.
That's
despite
true.
The impacts.
So it doesn't have to be, what would you call it, in-season, out-season kind of thing.
Exactly.
And I like the fact that it's kind of like a backyard farming initiative.
Exactly.
It sounds interesting.
And it's
you were saying.
and it also eliminates the use of artificial fertilizer, which sometimes, if you over-fertilize, can be dangerous for the soil. So that's something that we should take note of.
And of course, I'd have to buy the fertilizer, whereas it's cost-effective, because if you don't have to buy it, it's being made by a fish. That cuts down a lot of your overhead.
Yes, and particularly in times like we're facing now with the shortage of fertilizers.
That's cool, and water, because boy, water is. Running a farm, I would imagine, takes a lot of water versus you just utilizing a minimal amount of water and getting a higher yield. Sounds exciting. What are the various types of systems? Do you have different types, or is it just one plain system that you have for aquaponics? Do you have different systems that you put in place?
Well, we essentially have different sizes, ranging from small to large. InMed designed a system that is particularly easier to implement. And so it is a technology that has been around for quite some time, but in our design, we've tried to make it more accessible to the general population. And so as Sharika mentioned, with women and youth and disabled groups and on small farmers on any scale, so that it's something that is more accessible. And that is then dependent on what resources are available. So it can be scaled up. And so someone could start small with a single module, maybe one fish tank and 2 grow beds. And then as more resources and space allow, they could expand into multiple fish tanks and multiple grow beds. And so thereby expanding exponentially the production.
You said you started in quite some time, in the early 2000s. What's the reception like? When you look back to when the company started, the initiative, the inspiration surrounding. What is it like now?
That's a good question. You know, in 2010 is actually when we first developed the design.
The design, okay.
Yes, and the idea really was to expand on our programs towards food security and nutrition. And we really recognize the importance of adapting to climate change. And so we introduced this in schools and small farms, and people were very receptive because, especially with the youth and the technology, introducing something that was not your traditional working in the the open field farm, something that was utilizing technology that was more efficient. And the reception kind of has been continuous, but it's still unknown to many people. And so we're really trying to promote this more and more, and particularly now with the food insecurity issues and the climate impacts that continue.
I can imagine. I mean, what if another war breaks out and you can't get food, or the wharves are closed or something? This is something that you can definitely look into.
Yes.
And InMed Caribbean has really recognized that, here in Jamaica, the ability to grow food here is just so strong. There really is a drive to have that security here, and versus importing and having that dependency on imports. It's not necessary. So,
what are some of the challenges that you've been facing, though, Sharika? I want to put that to you. You're the program manager. What are some of the challenges that you've been experiencing since joining the group and trying to get this momentum going?
Well, since I've been starting to get the momentum going, I've been getting a lot of feedback, a lot of reviews, and InMed is showing that we're committed. So hence we are launching our event or training center in Vernon Field. So that is to show how committed we are. Persons have complained that it has been difficult to monitor the system, which I can agree that it takes some level of understanding to monitor. But we are still committed. We have our training program online, which is free at www.inmedcaribbean.org. And with the implementation of the training center, you will be able to come by and do the practical area in our commercial system. So we are addressing the challenges. However, we're still committed and moving forward.
Speaking about commitment, you just mentioned something interesting. You've launched a training center. So you're not just saying, do this system. You are also holding our hands. Tell me about that launch and what's happening at Vernon.
Okay, so we have established a training center. It's a commercial training center with 10 grow beds in a greenhouse setup, about 5 fish tanks, about 10 feet deep, 6,000 fishes. So it's a large commercial system that will allow our persons who are interested to come and get hands-on training on how to monitor and how to operate their system efficiently and reap the benefits as how we know that they can obtain from this system.
All right. Food security means having at all times both physical and economic access to sufficient food to meet dietary needs for a productive and healthy life. To a family, food is secure when its members do not live in hunger or fear of hunger. That is the security that InMed's system of aquaponics provides. We go for a short break and continue this very interesting discussion when we come back. Welcome back to Morning Coffee Guests. We're talking about a way to utilize technology, knowledge, and financing to implement climate adaptive measures in agriculture. We're talking about the aquaponics system. Our guests are still with us in studio, Kristen Callahan, the Chief Operating Officer in InMed Caribbean, and their Program Manager, Sharika Campbell. Thanks so very much for staying with us. Ladies, we're having an interesting discussion. We were talking about the training center. You said you wanted to add a little bit more meat when you went for the break.
Yes, thank you. So we just are starting a new initiative that's called the InMed Social Enterprise, the Aquaponics Social Enterprise. And this is something that we have started in South Africa and other locations, and we're now bringing it to Jamaica really as an effort to support farmers, aquaponics farmers, whether that be the individual backyard farmer, gardener, a school, or a farming cooperative, whoever is interested in pursuing it, so that there is a source for continual technical assistance. Mm-hmm. And so as we produce and show and demonstrate the capacity of aquaponics and what it can produce in terms of fish and plants, we'd like to show everyone what it can do. And then to be able to answer questions when they come up. How much feed do I need to give my fish? Questions like that. And then also to develop the market. There really is a demand, I think, for organic, healthy, local, nutritious food.
That is true.
And so if we can make those connections with local buyers and help to strengthen that market, then we can actually bring together all farmers who are working through aquaponics to provide that to the market.
Anything else you want to add, or is she
No, she did
wrapped it up? She wrapped it up nicely.
Yes.
All right. So if I want to get access to the training center, how do I do so?
So you would need to complete the training that's online. That's at www.inmedcaribbean.org. You would register online. We would bring you through the training material. It's accessible to all, very easy. It has some videos and a test at the end. Once you complete that and you are successful, then you should materialize to the practical stage of the training.
So tell us about the practical side now. What happens? You have to go into the training complex?
Yes, ideally we would want you to come to the training complex, and we have the system there already established, so it depends on what is happening at the complex. So whether it is a time that we're going to be reaping or if it's a time that we're going to be planting, we will offer the services and let you know how is it that you're going to manage your system efficiently. Yeah.
Is there a cost that comes with this? If I'm a farmer and I want to get some hands-on training before I start, do I have to pay to get this training, or is this for free?
Well, the online training now is for free. Not sure how long we will be offering the practical training for free, but it will come at a cost eventually. So if you're interested, it would be good for you to come and
jump at the opportunity
now.
Well, I understand that it's business, so it's a cost to run the farm. So eventually, you would want to
precisely
ask for a little donation, so to speak. So I completely understand, ladies. I completely understand. So explain. I'll say. So do farmers who are interested in this type of farming require a permit though to do so? Do we require a permit, or you can just start in your backyard? Or
no, there's no special permit to start. None.
Right, so I can just
No, you can just get all the resources, which you can obtain the list of resources on our website, and you can communicate with our technical team, anybody on the team, to see how you can start and implement.
Wow. So how would this though work out into earnings for our Jamaican economy, or is this just on an individual level? I mean, because I can imagine on an individual level now, because food is kind of expensive, how that would benefit, say, a family to do so. But how would it work out for the nation? What's the vision? Kristen?
Yes, thank you. That's a good question. The vision really is to, number one, be able to produce that food locally. But if we can help to organize everyone who is producing through aquaponics, then we can also meet that market. As I mentioned, developing the market, it is there. There are, whether it be restaurants or grocery stores or people do need to buy food. And so through this social enterprise, we're actually hoping to consolidate other aquaponics producers. And so perhaps there is a farming cooperative that has their system, or an entrepreneur has started their own system. They don't know where to sell it. We can help them find buyers.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that, because that's always something that you think about when you're thinking about going into farming.
Yes.
Where am I going to sell? What about export? I mean, you're obviously not from here, and it is a network that's across the world. Are you guys looking to consolidating in that respect to give us an outside market?
Haven't gotten to that point quite yet, but perhaps.
Dream big, Kristen. We dream big.
Dream big, yes.
We dream big. We dream big.
We have social enterprises now in Peru and Brazil as well, and so we really think that there is a very strong movement towards the sustainable type of production, so we want to support it.
I covered a couple of weeks ago a story where the government is looking towards youth development in agriculture. What are you doing in terms of getting the younger generation, though, involved in agriculture? I know you talk about family farming and commercial farming, but how are you looking to the next generation? Any one of you can jump in here and answer that.
So we have partnered with the Jamaica 4-H Club. They are an integral part of this process, and we hope to use their network to reach to the youth farmers. As Kristen had explained earlier, we have implemented backyard systems in schools. However, we would want to implement small-scale commercial systems so that we can teach the youth how to actually earn from this kind of technology.
Wow, wow.
And I might add too that in addition to the technology, part of the capacity building that we try to do is in business. And so for youth who are interested in pursuing this as a business, as an entrepreneur, we'll learn that aspect too.
That's cool. What are some of the other Caribbean nations that you're involved with, though? It's not just Jamaica. I mean, it's InMed Caribbean. Are you just starting here and looking to go across the region?
We are looking to expand, actually, and we will be partnering soon, very soon, to expand to other nations.
What if someone has, seen the vision and they really want to get involved in this? How can they contact you? Again, I mean, I know we said it at the top of the show, but what if they went to the bathroom and they missed that part and they're really buying into Kristen's vision of commercializing and building a community and stuff like that and just earning some millions?
Nice question. So the information, all our information can be found on our website, which is www.inmedcaribbean.org. So you may speak to myself. You may see my information, Sherika Campbell. Kristen's information is there. The technical officer is there. As I explained, training material, they're accessible to all. You register, you have access to the training information. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us.
All right, and this is open to anyone, or does it have like an age limit, a minimum, maximum age?
No.
So
anyone can participate, can register, and join.
Wow. All right, guys. So we went out to actually take a look at one of these farms. Take a look.
Here at InMed Caribbean, we're launching our InMed Aquaponics Social Enterprise here in partnership with the 4-H clubs of Jamaica. So here at Vernon Field, we have a new initiative, this new training center where we can demonstrate commercial aquaponics production, and we can have a training center to support and train and build the market for all other aquaponics farmers.
All right, so this is a little nursery for the aquaponics system. We have the nursery tables. We have our products that we use in the aquaponics system have to be organic based because we don't want to introduce chemicals that could be potentially harmful to the fish. Otherwise, the system will not work properly. The system has in it gravel. This is where the biological life really survives. The gravel acts in many ways in a system like this. One, there's the filtration side of things. So it will have the biological life that does the conversion from ammonia into nitrites. It also acts as the anchor for your plants. So if we just scratch away around, you can see that the gravel will grow and attach itself. Sorry, the plants will grow and attach itself to the roots easily, where it will absorb the nutrients when the water is pumped. So it's a rooting system of one of the aquaponic plants. This is in the system now for 2 weeks. And you have options in planting. You plant with the root ball intact. You will have less days in terms of stress on the plant, so the plants will grow a lot easier. At this size, I'd say they're about 2 grams now. The feed rate is calculated specifically. I won't do that now, I won't go through that now. Yeah. But it's about this amount 5 times a day at this size. As they get older, they require more in terms, of course, of volume, but then the frequency is going to be less.
We're particularly proud of this initiative because it is intended to support the adoption of aquaponics as a climate adaptive agriculture technology to increase food security and sustainable livelihoods. And here we can demonstrate and we can support the growing movement towards this revolutionary agricultural method.
All right, so it definitely looks like a venture that I'm going to get involved with. Let's not forget that cultivation of the earth is the most important labor of man. When tillage begins, other arts follow. The farmers, therefore, are the founders of human civilization. We hope to see more farmers using the aquaponics system. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Join us next time for another episode of Morning Coffee Guest.